Hey the bugs, welcome back to another Tarot Lover Reviews. Today we are taking a look at the Hush Tarot created by Jeremy Hush. So if you've heard of this tarot deck or you haven't heard of this tarot deck, hopefully this review and the flip through that comes afterwards helps you to decide on whether or not this tarot deck is right for you. Now, if you want to take a look at the flip through, you want to go straight there, take a look down in my description. I break down all the suits into chapters to make it easier for you to locate exactly where in the flip through you would like to begin. But right now we are going to talk about the packaging. We're going to talk about the guidebook, and we're going to talk about the cards, cardstock, backing, imagery, the size, the naming conventions, everything. So if you are interested in all the details, stick around. Otherwise, feel free to move on over to the flip through. So let's take a look at the packaging. So as we saw in the beginning here, this is the front of the packaging. And this particular deck was published by US Games Systems Inc. So you can't find this tarot deck on their website if you wanted to, or you can find it online anywhere. But yeah, I actually got this one, I believe from my metaphysical shop. But yeah, the box opens as so, and just so you can get an idea of the sides of the inner box, that's kind of what it looks like. But the inside looks like this, a very light blue color, and the packaging is semi-thick. It's not as thick as what I've seen with the other ones. I mean, probably pretty much the same, but still, if you've seen my reviews, you know how much I appreciate when the packaging is thick like this, because I know that if my tarot deck falls in the packaging is going to protect my tarot deck. So yeah, that is the packaging. Now let's go ahead and talk about the guidebook. So this is what the guidebook looks like. Okay. Now, in regards to what you see within the guidebook, as you can see, there are no pictures of any of the cards within the book. It's not a requirement. I always find that it's more helpful when it's included in there, just so that you have something to reference. You can always pull the card and hold it side by side while you're reading it. That's always helpful, but either way. But each card has an upright and reversed meaning to each of the cards, and then also with that a paragraph of a description about the card in Jeremy's point of view, right? So with each of the cards, you will get the upright keywords, the description about the card, the reverse, and then the description about the reverse side of it for each card. So I love that. I love that for each card. I mean, yeah. What more can I say? And then, of course, towards the end of the guidebook, you do have a tarot spread that you can utilize with your tarot deck, which I absolutely love. And it is theme-based to this tarot deck. So again, absolutely love whenever we can get a tarot spread within the guidebook. So that is your guidebook. Let's go ahead and talk about the cards. So this is the backing of the cards. Okay. And what I love about this is you cannot tell the difference on whether or not it's upright or reversed. So if you read reversals, definitely love the back. When it comes to the texture, it's not glossy, although it kind of gives off a gloss vibe. It's not glossy. I like that middle point where it's not matte and it's not glossy. It's just like right in the middle. I love that. And the cardstock is fantastic. It is on that Goldilocks zone. And if you don't know what I mean it from the point of how you shuffle. So if you shuffle in that riffle shuffle style or the poker style, where you just kind of go like this and you just let it shuffle, this one shuffles very well in that way. The cards are a little bit thicker, so when you do have to like bend the cards to be able to do this, you will find some more resistance than normal when you try to utilize that, and that's mainly because the cards are a little bit on the thicker side. But I love utilizing that as an example when it comes to the cardstock, because that really tells you how thick the cardstock is when you're shuffling it in that manner. Doesn't mean that you have to shuffle it that way. You can shuffle it however you see fit. Some readers I see do, you know, this, or I'll see them do the over under method. It really is up to you on how you shuffle. For me personally, I tend to change things around depending on the cardstock of that tarot deck. If I feel like it's a little too thick, I will not do that riffle shuffle. I'll do the under over method when it comes to shuffling my cards. Really, it changes. I don't have a particular preference when it comes to shuffling my cards. But yeah. Now let's talk the size of the cards. So I have a standard Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck here. So we have, for comparison, and let's do this in the front because it is on the wider side and a little bit shorter than your average tarot deck. But when you're shuffling this deck, you don't really notice a size difference. So it doesn't bother me much, but I wanted to visually give you an idea of the sizing difference with this particular tarot deck. So there is that. Let's talk about the naming convention and the imagery in regards to this tarot deck. Now, when I get to this portion of the review, I always like to say what I do. So when going through the imagery and the naming convention, I am going based off of the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. Why I do that is because of the guidebooks that you can purchase separately. They are widely inspired, or they gain inspiration from the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, because that is just kind of like a staple in tarot. That's kind of like the go-to when it comes to starting tarot at times. I'm not saying that everybody does that, because I sure didn't do that at first, but that's why I like to mention the differences and whether or not this particular tarot deck works, right? With the Rider-Waite-Smith as far as comparing it. So that's one of the reasons. And then on top of that, there are so many other tarot decks out there that pull inspiration from the Rider-Waite-Smith, but have a different way of doing the imagery. So they may pull from the imagery, but not quite. They may go based off of the theme of that particular tarot deck. So that is why I like to make these comparisons and mention them to you, so you have an idea on, again, whether or not this tarot deck will be right for you before you buy. Okay, so let's talk about the naming convention first. So from comparing it to the Rider-Waite-Smith, there is no differences with the naming convention, but you will find on these cards, there are no names. There's no name on the card. So I don't believe, oh no, I lied. I'm sorry, I lied. So for the major arcana, you do get the name of the card down at the bottom, followed by the Roman numeral of that particular card. So there is, you will find that on the major arcana. The minor arcana does not have any naming conventions to it. They simply just have the number of the card and the suit symbol at the top. So this one right here is Pentacles. So that's how you will know what the card is. Let me think. So yeah, naming convention is pretty much the same. So if you were to look in the guidebook will reference Pentacles, Cups, Wands, and Swords. So all the minor arcana are the same. All the major arcana are the same when it comes to the naming conventions. Let's talk about the imagery. The imagery compared to the Rider-Waite-Smith, there are some differences and at the same time some hints towards the Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's not by a lot. Definitely Hush's art style shines through their tarot deck. So It doesn't pull too much from the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, such as this is the card that got me. The Page of Pentacles. The imagery on this card is just beautiful. And from what I have read, the art style, like how he creates his art, like he does it with a ballpoint pen. Like, I love that. But I mean, also uses other mediums as well. But I just love the fact that they are able to create these types of images utilizing a ballpoint pen. I mean, that's probably not so much of a crazy thing, but still, it's something to note, because everybody has a different medium when it comes to creating their art. But yeah, let's talk about, I think we're already talking about the imagery, but yeah, like I said, the imagery is definitely different. Not everything is the same. Here's the Magician. Definitely does not give you magician vibes from the Rider-Waite-Smith. So you'll see some similarities. You'll see where it's kind of showing you exactly what it is, but it may not be exactly the same type of imagery you are used to. But still, this tarot deck has been on my list for a really long time, but for some reason I couldn't pull the trigger when it came to purchasing this tarot deck, because some of the cards has animals, and I don't really dig or don't really utilize animal tarot decks all that often. I like when there are people in the tarot decks, because I feel like it just gives me more than just characteristics of that particular animal. It's a preference thing, guys. So it took me a while to really purchase this tarot deck, but once I saw the Page of Pentacles through a tarot group that I follow on Facebook, I was just like, okay, done deal. This is what I need. I need it. So I purchased it, and I'm so happy I did. I love this tarot deck. The readings that I give are fantastic with this tarot deck. And yeah, I don't have any negatives, any pain points that I feel I need to mention with this tarot deck. I absolutely love the artwork. It is beautiful. It is unique, and it stands out. So yeah. Hopefully this review has helped you in some way. If it has, leave a like, and check out my channel. See if there are any other tarot decks that you might be interested in watching a review on. If there is a tarot deck that you do not see that I've done a video on, leave a comment down below. Let me know what that particular tarot deck is. Chances are I may have that tarot deck. I just haven't done the video on it. But if I don't, I'll look into it. I'm trying to be good when it comes to buying tarot decks. So I will look at it and see whether or not it's something that I want to purchase. But I still have plenty of tarot decks to share with you guys. And still, definitely let me know if there's a tarot deck that you might be interested in, because I always love doing these reviews. So yeah, without further ado, here is the flip through. Enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.